could well be, and he's there in third in the championship coming into this weekend with that disappointing result in the opening race at Cadwell Park. But the red lights go out, and the 15-minute race for the Heritage Park Centre Formula V Championship gets underway. Then the cars head off down towards Clervaux Corner for the first time, and it's Pollard ahead by the looks of it, with James Harridge on the outside line going with him. Peter Studer in third, and that's Andrew Cooper taking a lot of curb. He spins. Peter Belzy gets caught up in that as well. At least one more car did too, but Belzy and Cooper, I'm afraid, in the gravel, and that was Cooper just using a bit too much curb at Clervaux, I suggest.
That started off the line. Cooper had a bad start, and Belzy was on the grass initially, but then, as you say, I think Cooper got it a bit wrong over the curb, and he spun and took Belzy with him, so that wasn't a good start for either of them. But the top two are getting away, with Craig Pollard ahead of James Harridge. Let's have a look at this big grid of Formula V cars coming down towards Tower Corner. Great to see so many out there. We've posed a question mark at the moment about what's going on at turn one.
Yeah, and of course it's a great multi-manufacturer championship as well. You've got the GAX, which was the Alan Woodward cars. There's the two cars still in the gravel trap. Cooper thinking, well, shall I get out or shall I stay in, or what do we want to do? There is, I think, provision for snatch possibly down at that part of the circuit, so wait until what happens. Safety car boards are out, I can see now, so safety car is going to come out and neutralise the race at the end of lap number 1.
Yes, and it is Pollard that stayed ahead of Harridge up to there. And then Peter Studer in third. Fourth is Tim Probert. Fifth is Steve-O. Sixth is Colin Gregory in the ex-Adam McCauley race-winning car. Then Matt Harbott is seventh. Eighth is Maurice Gloucester. Ninth, Phil Wardhouse. 10th is Bill Garner. How have Jordan and Hans got on? Well, Hans has passed Jordan. Jordan hasn't gained very many, has he, unfortunately? But Danny Hans has. He's gained, what, about 8, something like that.
So safety car out. Marshall, as you can see, are now at the seed of the Cooper and Belzy melee, and they will hopefully therefore be able to get those cars rescued fairly quickly. I imagine they'll wait for the train to go past, which it's doing so now, and then hopefully they'll be able to get those cars pushed back onto the circuit and hopefully either back round via the track to the paddock, or there is the shortcut there to the assembly area that could possibly take or get them behind the barriers where they are.
Yeah, drivers have got out now, haven't they? So
yeah,
if they're going to push them back onto the track, that might take a few moments more.
So I suspect therefore they'll try and get them behind the barriers somewhere if they can.
Of course, safety car interruptions are quite new to Formula V racing. Not sure if we've actually had one before, because the safety car has been introduced into short races in 750 Motor Club only over the last couple of seasons.
It has. I think we probably have had, and certainly I remember they had a well-documented one in a meeting run by another club, actually, which Formula V was guesting a few years ago. And I remember Craig Pollard got caught up with an issue in that race. I can't remember the exact detail, but yeah, certainly we have had safety cars before, and Craig Pollard it is that's leading them around. So we are losing time during this. I can see the snatch vehicle has made its way onto the scene at Clervaux and is dealing with the first of the cars, which is Andrew Cooper. Now, if the safety car goes nice and slowly, it might be able to deal with. It's probably not going to do both in a lap, is it? It'll probably take a couple more laps to deal with these.
At Cadwell Park, Peter Belzy had to start near the back of the grid after qualifying issues, and did a great job to get himself up to 5th and 9th in those two races. Qualified well here, and it didn't last any longer than one corner, unfortunately for him. How did the drivers get on from the back in this race? Well, Danny Hans got to 19th from 31st, so he's ahead of 9 cars that are still, actually 8 cars that are still running because of Elliot Mason for the pits. Ian Jordan is 21st from 27th on the grid.
But that looks like Danny Hans going slowly.
Don't think so.
Is it not? No, it's not actually. Is it? It's one of the other.
7, I think.
It's the 7 car. Beg your pardon. Same colour. Also a single-digit number.
Richard Welsh.
Yeah. Beg your pardon. Yeah, you're quite right. It's the Richard Welsh car that's going slowly at the back of the field with issues. So
yes, he started 22nd. So he had. Oh, he actually was running. Where? You said there was a third car caught up in that incident, didn't you?
I didn't think it was him.
But I don't see that car at the end of the first lap.
Okay, well, I think that third car got away. So they are now rescuing the Belzy car as well. So they're not quite going to do it, are they? They're not quite going to be in a position where they can restart this time around. But what the safety car should be able to do is have a slightly quicker lap this time around, because the track should be clear very shortly.
Let's hope that slow car, if it can't continue, can get into a safe place as well.
We have had situations before, haven't we, where we've thought the safety car was about to be ended for one reason and then another reason.
Yes, as recently as last week, I seem to remember.
Indeed.
Yes, hope that's not the case here with Formula V. So it's the GAC of Craig Pollard, the Bears adapted car. I think Craig is running it with his dad this weekend, this season, much like James Harridge, Maverick, which his dad was out yesterday in testing. Dave Harridge, who's been out of circuit racing for quite some time, but unfortunately engine issues with the new Maverick, the Class A car, which are sticking with the suspension. So hopefully we shall see him later on this season. James Harridge and Craig Pollard, they've been racing this championship now for a little while, haven't they? You said Craig Pollard, the 2018 champion. James Harridge, that car really come of form, didn't it, last year, winning all but one race.
That Richard Walsh by the way, has caught the pack now, so that's good news. And the circuit is clear down at Clervaux.
That is the end of his first lap, according to the timing. So whether he stopped or... And obviously, he was late to the collecting area, and they let him out. Potentially. Either way, he's there now. So we've got a 28th car that is running in this.
Safety car lights still on. With any luck, they will turn out shortly. They're about halfway around the lap at the moment, and when they do, we'll get underway again. There'll be around about, I guess, 7.5 minutes of the race left to go. So about half of the race left to go by the time they come back round. So they'll probably get, what lap times were they doing this morning? 1:32. So they might get 5 laps.
I guess if you're going to have a safety car here, we would have it at the start of the race, so you have still plenty of racing to go, rather than interrupting the middle of it. Or still later in the race, so the race can't get back underway, as we've seen again as recently as last week. Yeah,
absolutely right. Still yellow flags and safety car boards at the moment. Still lights on the safety car right now, but to me the circuit looks clear at Clervaux. So hopefully we will be able to go racing once again.
Yeah, you said it was a slow last lap, 37 miles per hour average speed. The last lap was under safety car. This one, I suspect, has been done a bit faster. The lights are now out, so Craig Pollard has backed the field right up through into the complex. When is he going to accelerate? You'd think perhaps it would be out of the complex and he can take a good run through the hairpin, but Ian, we shall see if that is the case.
Yeah, he does go now, as you say, on the exit of the right-hander through the hairpin. He goes, tries to steal a bit of a march on James Harridge. I think it might have worked actually for him. He's gained a few lengths at least, I would suggest, as they come up to the line. Green flag is waved. 7 minutes and 18 seconds as they go across the line to start lap number 4 of this race. It's Craig Pollard leading then in number 92 from number 1, James Harridge. So not as close between them this time. As there we have, again, quite a lot of curb being used by number 60, Tim Probert, who I think he was a winner, wasn't he, last time? Was it Croft, or was that another meeting?
Donington.
Donington, that's right. I was trying to work out where he won. It is his local circuit. He's not always had the best of luck here, but I think he has had a podium in the past. Steve-O in 5th.
Yeah, I don't think Craig Pollard will be reminded of that Donington Park race. But
no.
Anyway, he's leading here at Croft from James Harridge. Big gap back to Studer, Probert and O. And there is Steve-O then in the best of the Alan Hardin Specialty HS, the Dominator that Steve-O runs in 5th place. And there's some battles here coming down towards Tower Bend. We can see on the live streaming pictures in front of spectators back at Croft for the first time this year. And great to see big grid for this 750 Motor Club racing for people to enjoy. So if you made your way here to Croft this weekend, I hope you are enjoying the racing. Through Sunny Corner on the screens there, Phil Waterhouse is chasing Morris Gloucester. That is for 8th and 9th positions, the GAC and the Scarab. But here are the leaders, nose to tail. Yeah, and they're a long way clear of Peter Studer and the rest. Quite a deep line being taken by Craig Pollard through that right-hander. And James Harridge taking a different line again through the hairpin to the race leader. So it's Pollard, number 92, leading. Number 1, James Harridge in 2nd place. The one thing one of the things that safety car's done is meant that the traffic shouldn't play a big problem in this race, which it otherwise would have done, because there's quite a disparity of speed in Formula V, so there shouldn't be as much backmark collaborating to worry about. Studer is still there in 4th, Tim Probert 5th, Steve-O 5th, Colin Gregory 6th, Matt Harbert, Morris Gloucester, Phil Waterhouse and Bill Garner rounding out the top 10. Yeah, I suspect Craig Pollard after Cadwell Park will be quite content with no lap traffic. Fastest lap by James Harridge, 1:32.44, which is 2 seconds under the lap record previously set by Ian Jordan. There are the leaders then through Tower. Pollard carries a lot of road through there.
Well, a change for third and a spin. I can see out of my window for Peter Studer, so that's come on the exit of Tower Corner, and there might have been another involved there as well. That is the number 4 car of Studer that is trying to get back onto the circuit. He'd lost the position to Tim Probert, third position going into Tower that time, and spun on the exit.
Looks like Colin Gregory might have got himself caught up in that as he spun across the circuit. I think he's continued, but the leaders are heading back towards the complex. Who will be in front? Will it be Craig Pollard or will it be James Harridge? Well, it is Pollard then. But James Harridge is very close, isn't he? Right on the gearbox of Pollard. Pollard takes a very different line here into the hairpin, a much tighter line, but it seems to work for him. It has done so far. Let's hope that's not famous last words for him. No, again, I'd say that works well for Craig Pollard. It's an unconventional line to watch, but it seems to have speed.
It does seem to work for him. Tim Probert in third now, Steve O up to fourth as a result of what went on at Tower Corner, and it's the 33 car of Matt Harbour up into fifth position. Leaders down at Hawthorne though, and there is Tim Probert now in third place going through, and he's got just about a second back to Steve O in fifth.
Probert didn't have a great time at Cadwell Park. He had a 7th and an 8th, so this is much better for him. There he is, another driver who's been in V for some time. Steve-O is chasing him. He is, 1.6 seconds behind as they head their way down towards Tower. But here are the leaders into the Jim Clark S. There's a gap at the line with a third of a second, but Pollard's lead perhaps looks slightly bigger at this part of the circuit, coming down into Barcroft, absolutely committed, over the curb, now on the brakes, into Sunny. And James Harridge was telling me yesterday he can carry so much speed into that corner now with this re-tarmacked racetrack.
We've had about 12 minutes of this race so far, and 3 minutes therefore left to go. It's Pollard and Harridge then, class of the field this weekend. That seems certain, although obviously we lost Cooper and Belzy on the first corner, which may have made a slightly different complexion to this race, although I think we're still seeing these two out front. They're coming through now, and this will be to start their penultimate lap, I reckon then. Pollard and Harridge over the line. Any improvements in the lap time? 1:32.44 was the best lap of the race. Just waiting for it to click through on our screens, which it has done now, and it's a new lap record for Craig Pollard, a 1:31.91.
And for the first time all day, that's quicker than the qualifying lap time that he managed this morning. Perhaps traffic influence that was, but either way, a good time. On your screens, Danny Hands crosses the line. Where has he worked his way into? We watch him down into Clairvaux.
Eighth.
That's impressive. I was looking further down the order, so good stuff there from Hans, and to get himself into the top 10. He's lapping quicker than everybody but the top 2.
And there's Ian Jordan, number 3, just behind actually the recovering Peter Studer after his spin at Tower Corner. So that is the battle now for, I think, 10th and 11th, 11th and 12th maybe. So that's good progress from Jordan.
Yeah, he's getting back into this, isn't he, now, after being out of the car for 18 months. And he's drawing up alongside Peter Studer, who raced Formula Ford 1600 in the 1980s, I think. And Studer's not giving up with this. Remember, he did qualify in the second row of the grid, and he keeps Ian Jordan at bay for now as they turn their way into the Jim Clark S. So they're getting away now from the likes of Craig Bell, I think, who Ian Jordan passed at the beginning of the lap, but he's right on the gearbox then of Studer coming down into Sunny. Jordan looks to the inside then in the car that his dad still prepared. I think Dave Jordan was saying this is his 36th season in Formula V. Ian in his 30th seasons. They've both been a real part of the championship. They've never raced in anything else, so great to see them back this year.
Yeah, so they are about to go on to their final lap. The race leaders already on their way, Craig Pollard and James Harridge. The gap between them, 1.26 seconds, so a bit more than what it says on your screen, which is a few laps out of date now, I'm afraid. Those two are a long way clear of the rest. Tim Probert in third place is more than 15 seconds behind the two leaders that are heading down to Tower Corner.
Steve-O in fourth. He's coming under pressure from Matt Harbaugh, who's having a great race here. I think his best race in Formula V. We'll see if we can pick them up, I think, on our cameras coming down towards Tower Bend. First of all, you'll see Tim Probert in third place. Then in fourth, Steve O, being chased by the similar car of Matt Harbott, who in fact has Maurice Gloucester's GAC on his tail. Here they are then, Harbott in fifth, having his best race in the championship.
Yeah, 24 years old, from Leicestershire, a newcomer to racing last season, and still you can see the novice cross on the back of his car. So a relative newcomer, but putting a good performance inside the top 6 here at Croft this weekend, as he heads down through Croft and towards Sun. He's got the more experienced Maurice Gloucester behind him. Gloucester's been racing that car for a good few seasons now. Meanwhile, the leaders are out of the final corner, and the checkered flag is ready for them, and it's going to be Craig Pollard that takes the victory then, and it's his first win of the season.
Yeah, Craig, well done. Congratulations on the race victory. With James on your tail there, you never really had a moment to breathe though, did you?
No, I mean, James is such a quick driver. We've all been in it quite a while. It's a formula that's got long-standing drivers, and you can never take a moment to breathe in Formula V, and when you've got James in your mirrors, you know he's going to be there for the long run.
I say you didn't have a moment to breathe. You did have that early safety car. Does that affect things at all, especially when it's early in the race?
Yeah, I mean, obviously always you get the chance to capitalise on a safety car if you can get the jump. James wasn't far behind, so I don't think it gave me as much of a gap as what I'd hoped for. Made a couple of mistakes later on in the lap, and James got on the back of me, but I love it here. We've had a couple of wins, so I know it gives me the confidence to go again.
We noticed during that race you've got quite an interesting line through this complex. Was that just because you were driving with defence in mind?
That and the engine that we're running is, you know, as everyone is, high compression. It's trying to keep it on the cam, on the power. Otherwise, you start to get detonation within the engine. So slipping the clutch even just to try and get it through that last section, because it's one of the circuits which isn't necessarily sorted to the gearing of Formula V.
Well, you clearly were doing something right out there. Congratulations on the race win, Craig.
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Craig Pollard then, winner of our first Formula V race of the weekend. They'll be back out again later on tomorrow. I think they're next back out. For now, though, cars are heading out on the circuit for our next race. It's the 45-minute Tagiwa Road Sports Series race. These are always good fun.